Welcome to my channel.
And this is English Podcast Station.
Okay, so you're trying to really nail this IELTS reading test.
Yeah,
But it feels like kind of a mountain to climb.
definitely. Yeah, it's a common feeling. A lot of people hit that wall and think, okay, where do I even start with this?
Exactly. And that's what we're going to dig into today for you.
It is.
It's all about figuring out how to make those reading scores actually better.
Exactly. And, we're taking a lot of what we're talking about today from a really cool discussion. What should I do to improve my reading scores? It was on episode 16 of the English Podcast Station.
Yeah, they had some really good stuff. So
Really practical advice.
yeah. So let's just level set for a sec.
Yeah.
For anyone who's maybe totally new to IELTS or just needs a little reminder,
Absolutely.
the reading test, it's 3 sections,
Yeah.
40 questions total,
Uh-huh.
and you've got 1 hour
1 hour. Yeah, 60 minutes.
to do it all.
Yeah.
And the texts themselves, they come from books, journals, magazines, newspapers,
Yeah, all sorts of places.
but they're always written for
A general audience.
just a normal person. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to be an expert in whatever the topic is.
Right.
And the topics themselves are really broad. I mean, you could get anything from academic subjects to, just factual, everyday kind of articles.
Right. And they're really looking for, can you get the main idea?
Yeah.
Can you find specific details? Can you tell what the writer's opinion is or their attitude?
Yeah,
And can you kind of follow the flow?
exactly. Can you see how it all hangs together, basically?
Right. So naturally, this leads us to the things that people trip up on,
Of course. Yeah.
like time management.
Huge one.
That hour goes so fast.
It flies by.
And then you've got words you've never seen before,
Oh, yeah.
sentences that are like a paragraph long,
Yeah, those complex sentences.
and just understanding what the question's even asking.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Right. Totally.
Too much information.
Yeah. So we're here to take what we learned from English Podcast Station
Yeah.
and our own knowledge and give you some ways to actually handle these things.
Yeah, give you some really concrete tools to work with.
Right. So step 1 is really understanding what this test actually looks like.
Yeah, the layout is crucial.
Knowing it's 3 sections, 40 questions, 60 minutes, that's like your base.
Absolutely. Your foundation. And hand in hand with that goes time management.
Oh, for sure.
You gotta be smart about how you use that time.
Right.
A good rule of thumb, and it's a really helpful starting point, is try to spend about 20 minutes on each section.
Okay.
Now, that's not a hard and fast rule.
Right.
Some sections might take a bit longer.
Sure.
But it gives you a good target to aim for when you're practicing.
So it's like having a plan going in.
Exactly.
Okay. This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
It's not just reading, it's how you read.
Absolutely.
It's like having different gears.
I like that analogy.
So you've got skimming, which is like a super quick read through just to get the main topic.
Yeah, just the gist of it.
All right. Then there's scanning, where you're actually hunting for a specific piece of info.
Yeah, like a name, a date, a keyword, something like that.
Right. And then intensive reading. That's where you're laser focused on every single word.
Exactly. That's when you really need to understand all the nuances, all the little details.
Because maybe it's the most important article for your research or something.
Precisely.
So knowing when to use which reading style, that's a huge time saver.
It really is, and it can make a big difference in how well you actually understand what you're reading.
Okay, so we've got the test structure and the different ways to read down.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about building up your reading skills overall.
Okay.
And the heart of that is vocab.
Oh, vocabulary. Absolutely essential.
If you know more words, you can understand more of what you're reading.
It's as simple as that. And everyone says it's the English Podcast Station. They were really big on this too. You've got to actively build your vocabulary.
Yeah, make friends with the dictionary.
And the thesaurus.
And they had this great tip about flashcards.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
So when you find a new word, write it down, write the definition.
Yeah.
And then this is key, write down some synonyms.
The synonyms are so important because the IELTS often uses different words to express the same idea.
Right.
So you need to be able to spot those connections.
And all this vocab work, it goes hand in hand with understanding grammar and how sentences are put together.
Absolutely. If you can figure out how a sentence is built, you're way better at figuring out what it means.
Especially those super long ones.
Yeah, the ones that are like mini paragraphs.
It's helpful to break those down.
Yeah, analyze them.
Find the subject, the verb, the object, all the little bits that modify them.
It really helps to clarify the meaning.
And all of this leads to better comprehension overall.
Of course.
It's not just about knowing words and sentences.
No, it's about seeing the big picture.
What are the main
The
ideas?
supporting details.
What's the writer trying to say?
Yeah, what's the overall message?
A good way to test your comprehension is to try summarizing.
Oh, that's a great technique. Summarize a paragraph in your own words.
Right? If you can do that, you know you've got it.
Exactly.
And now the big one, reading speed.
Yeah, that can be a real pressure point.
It's all about getting through those passages in time.
Absolutely.
And the key is practice.
Practice, practice, practice.
When you're reading stuff, make a note of how long it takes you to read a certain amount,
Yeah,
and then try to get a little faster each time.
but without losing comprehension.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You don't want to just speed through and miss everything.
right.
It's about finding that balance.
It is.
And another thing that might seem obvious, but you really have to work at it, is spotting the main ideas and supporting details.
Yeah, that's like the bread and butter of comprehension.
It is.
A good tip is to actually highlight or make notes.
Oh, yeah.
As you read, mark those key points. It forces you to really engage with the text.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork.
Yep.
The foundation is there.
Now let's get into the nitty gritty.
Let's do it.
Those IELTS reading question types?
Yeah.
Newbies, pay attention. There are a bunch of different ones. You've got true, false, not given, matching headings, multiple choice sentence completion, short answer questions, diagram labeling.
A whole buffet.
Yeah, and each one needs a slightly different approach.
Right, a specific technique to really nail it.
Precisely.
So let's start with true, false, not given.
Okay.
The key here, and the English podcast station folks were really adamant about this.
Yeah.
You have to focus on the exact wording.
Word for word.
Like zero room for error.
Exactly.
Compare the statement to the text. And I mean, really compare it.
They often use these things called distractors.
Oh, yeah.
Words or phrases that look similar to what's in the text,
Right.
but they actually change the meaning.
It's sneakily.
Yeah, so be super careful.
Like if the text says, some studies suggest a link, but the statement says, studies prove a link. That tiny change from suggest to prove,
Makes it false.
even though it's about the same topic.
Exactly. Those little details matter.
Okay, matching headings.
Okay.
Here's the strategy.
Yeah.
Read each paragraph really carefully. Get the main idea before you even look at the headings.
Yeah, like pretend you have to tell someone what that paragraph was about in one sentence.
Right, then find the heading that matches that idea.
Exactly. And don't get tricked by headings that only mention a small detail.
Or like a random example.
Yeah, they're trying to throw you off.
Okay, now, multiple choice.
Right.
First, read the question and all the answers. Then find where it's talking about that in the text.
Okay.
And really compare each answer to what the text actually says.
And a great technique here is to eliminate the obviously wrong answers.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of the ones that just don't fit.
The ones that contradict the text or say something totally different.
Exactly. It makes your choices clearer.
Okay, sentence completion.
Right.
Find the key words in the incomplete sentence.
Yep.
Then scan the text for those words or synonyms.
Because remember, synonyms are your friends.
They are.
Once you find a section that seems right, read it carefully. Make sure the missing info fits grammatically and logically.
Right. It has to make sense in the context of the whole passage.
Absolutely.
Short answer questions.
Okay.
Read the questions super carefully. Figure out exactly what they're asking. Then scan for a concise answer straight from the text.
And stick to the word limit.
Oh, yeah. If they say no more than 3 words,
No, better count them.
you better count them.
And make sure your answer is only based on what the text says.
No outside knowledge, no personal opinions,
Just the facts.
just the facts.
Okay, last one. Diagram labeling.
All right.
First, really look at the diagram. Read any labels or descriptions.
Okay.
Then scan the text for keywords that match the diagram parts.
So it's like a matching game.
Yeah, you're connecting the words to the picture.
Pay attention to any labels that are already there.
Yeah, they can give you clues.
So we've covered the techniques for each question type,
Yeah, we've given you the tools.
but now you got to practice.
Absolutely. Practice is key.
And for beginners especially, the best advice is use authentic materials.
Yeah. And by authentic, we mean official Cambridge IELTS practice tests.
Those are like the gold standard.
They are, because they're designed to be just like the real exam.
Same difficulty.
Yep.
Same question types. Same format. No surprises on exam day.
Exactly. You'll know what to expect.
English podcast station, they were all about this too.
Yeah, they really stress the importance of using official materials.
And when you're practicing, try to make it like the real test.
Yes. Simulate those test conditions.
Find a quiet spot
Set a timer for 60 minutes.
and go for it.
It helps you build stamina, get used to the pressure, and really refine your time management.
Remember that 20 minutes per section guideline?
Yeah, it's a good benchmark.
This is a step a lot of people skip,
Yeah,
but it's so important.
it is.
Analyze your mistakes.
Don't just mark your answers and move on.
Right. Really dig in.
Figure out why you got something wrong.
Was it the question itself?
Maybe you misinterpreted it.
Was it a vocabulary word you didn't know?
Could be.
Did you fall for a distractor?
It happens.
Figure out the patterns in your mistakes.
It shows you what you need to work on.
The podcast also talked about keeping a reading journal.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea, especially for beginners.
Write down new words.
Summarize passages.
Jot down what was easy and what was hard.
It helps you track your progress.
There are tons of online resources and apps out there.
There are.
They can be helpful for things like vocabulary,
Yeah.
but for full-length practice tests,
Stick to the official Cambridge materials.
they're the most realistic.
Absolutely.
And finally, consistency is key.
Couldn't agree more.
Regular practice is way better than cramming.
Even short bursts of focused study can make a big difference over time.
So as you're practicing, you'll notice different types of texts.
Yeah, the IELTS reading uses a variety.
You'll see academic texts like arguments, research findings, theoretical stuff. Then there's journalistic articles
More about current events, news, opinions.
and informational texts.
Yeah, just giving you the facts, explaining something.
For each type, there are some tricks you can use.
Yeah, some simple strategies.
For academic texts, look for the main arguments.
For journalistic pieces, pay attention to the headlines.
And for informational texts, look for headings, subheadings, bullet points.
And don't forget about diagrams and graphs.
If you see one, read the text that goes with it.
It'll explain what the visual is showing.
It's also helpful to think about the purpose of the text.
Yeah, is the author trying to inform you
Persuade you.
or just describe something?
Knowing the purpose can help you understand the content.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
Staying focused for a whole hour.
Especially when you're new to IELTS.
It's tough,
It can be.
but there are some things that can help.
For sure.
First of all, it's normal for your mind to wander.
Don't beat yourself up about it.
Just take a few deep breaths.
Yeah, it sounds simple, but it really helps.
It's like resetting.
Exactly.
It's also good to gradually increase your study time,
Start small and build up your endurance.
like training for a marathon, and eliminate distractions.
Find a quiet place. Turn off your phone. Tell everyone to leave you alone.
Create your own little study bubble,
Exactly.
even if a reading passage seems boring.
Try to actively engage with it.
Ask yourself questions.
What's the main idea? What are the key points?
Keep your brain working.
It's about staying active.
And remember those scanning and skimming techniques?
Yeah.
If you can find the info you need quickly,
It saves time and energy.
and that helps you stay focused.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's tackle some common questions.
Okay.
Do you have to read every single word before you look at the questions?
Not necessarily.
For a lot of question types,
Scanning and skimming are enough.
you don't need to understand every single word to answer the questions.
Nope.
And what about those unfamiliar words?
Try to figure out the meaning from the context.
You can often get a good idea.
Yeah, you don't always need a dictionary.
And how can you improve your reading speed?
Practice. Practice, practice.
Especially scanning and skimming.
The more you do it, the faster you'll get.
So to sum it all up,
Yeah.
consistent practice with authentic materials,
Uh-huh.
understand the test format and the question types, use specific techniques for each question type,
Analyze your mistakes.
and keep building your vocabulary, grammar, and comprehension skills.
It's all about taking a holistic approach.
And remember, Improving your IELTS reading score is totally doable.
It is.
With effort, the right approach, and consistent practice.
You can achieve your goals.
It might seem daunting now.
But you can do it.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, think about all the techniques we talked about.
Yeah.
Which one or two do you think would make the biggest difference in your next practice session?
Choose one or two to really focus on.
And see how it goes.
Experiment a bit and see what works for you.
That's how you figure out what works best.
Exactly.
All right, that's it for our deep dive on IELTS reading.
Hope this was helpful.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.